Sometimes, hearing part of a sentence or imagining what was left unsaid can feel heavier than the words themselves. The mind tends to fill in gaps when something feels emotionally charged, especially when it involves how others might perceive us. In those moments, uncertainty can create a strong internal narrative, where a half-remembered phrase or imagined comment starts to carry more weight than what was actually spoken. This often happens when we feel sensitive about how we are being seen or discussed by others, even indirectly. A phrase like, "you are just," can feel unfinished, and that unfinished quality allows the mind to explore multiple interpretations, some grounded in fear, some in curiosity, and some in self-reflection. But in reality, incomplete information is exactly that, unfinished. What matters more than the imagined ending is recognizing how quickly the mind tries to assign meaning when clarity is missing. These experiences say more about perception and emotional response than they do about any hidden or absolute truth. And while it can feel like there is something being withheld or completed elsewhere, most of the time, what's happening is simply internal interpretation, filling silence with possibility, the one who makes me question myself, the one who holds power without trying. That is why this message found you now. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What comes next is not about proving yourself or confronting them. It is about realizing that the version of you they shared with others was shaped by fear, not truth. And once you understand this, you will never hear that unfinished sentence the same way again. My beloved child, what you are stepping into now is the hidden layer, the part no one talks about out loud. After those words were spoken, something shifted. People nodded, pretended to understand. But inside, curiosity woke up. Why would someone speak so casually about a person who clearly left such a deep mark? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The truth is, when they tried to make you sound just anything, they unintentionally planted questions in every mind listening. Because truly unimportant people are not discussed this way. They are forgotten. You were not forgotten. You were analyzed, debated, remembered. And that alone should tell you how powerful your presence has been. Here is what happened next, and this is critical. Every time someone repeated that unfinished sentence, it sounded weaker than the last. The story began to crack. Some noticed the hesitation in their voice, others noticed the defensiveness, and a few noticed something else entirely: emotion. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You became the unspoken reference point, the comparison, the what if. While you were living your life, unaware, your name became a quiet echo in conversations you never heard. Not because you demanded attention, but because your absence created a vacuum. People don't downplay what doesn't matter. They downplay what still holds weight. Now let this sink in deeply. The reason this message feels intense is because it is not random. You are being prepared to see the situation clearly, without emotion blinding you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What they said was never the final verdict on you. It was a defense mechanism to protect themselves from questions they couldn't answer. And very soon, the truth will surface in a way that doesn't require confrontation or explanation. You won't need to prove anything. Their own actions will finish the sentence they were too afraid to complete. And when that moment arrives, you will understand why this chapter had to unfold exactly this way. My beloved child, now you are reaching the moment where awareness replaces confusion. Everything that felt unclear before is starting to line up, quietly but powerfully. Those words that once sounded dismissive are losing their sting, because you are beginning to see what stood behind them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When someone feels the need to define you for others, it is often because they are struggling to define their own feelings. They spoke quickly, vaguely, hoping the sentence would end before anyone asked for details. And no one did, because deep down, everyone sensed there was more being left unsaid. Here is the part most people never realize. While they were telling others that you were just something small, their behavior told a completely different story. Their attention lingered. Their reactions were delayed. Their silence was heavy. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You don't act unsettled by someone who means nothing. You don't guard your words around someone who has no influence. The contrast between what was said and what was felt created tension, and that tension is now turning into clarity for you, and soon for them as well. You don't always notice it while it's happening. You only recognize it afterward, when what once felt confusing starts to lose its emotional grip. Conversations that used to replay in your mind begin to soften, and the need for constant explanation starts to fade. Instead of searching for hidden meaning in every detail, you begin to see things more clearly for what they are, without adding extra weight to them. That is often when real clarity begins, not through dramatic revelations, but through a gradual return to inner steadiness. In that space, you start realizing that not everything requires a response, and not every story about you needs to be corrected in order for you to move forward. People may interpret situations in their own way, and sometimes those interpretations change over time, without your involvement at all. What once felt heavy can slowly lose its influence, simply because you stop feeding it your attention. And when attention shifts, emotional power shifts with it. You begin to understand that your peace doesn't depend on controlling every narrative around you, but on choosing where your energy actually goes. There's a quiet strength in observing life without constantly reacting to it, in allowing things to unfold without feeling the need to intervene at every turn. Over time, this creates a sense of stability that isn't shaken by uncertainty or outside opinions. You stop chasing closure in places that can't give it, and instead, you allow understanding to form naturally through experience and time. What seemed unresolved doesn't always need to be confronted. Sometimes it simply dissolves when it no longer has space in your attention. And in that process, you find that the real shift was never happening around you. It was happening within you, as you learned to stand still in your own clarity, without needing every question answered immediately, or every story rewritten on demand. Top of form, bottom of form. This is where the unfinished sentence finally completes itself, not out loud, but in realization. And when it does, you will understand that being called just anything was never a limit placed on you. It was a mirror reflecting their fear of what you represent. This chapter is not about closure, it is about elevation. And once you step into that, nothing they said before will have the power to follow you again. My beloved child, this moment is quieter than you expected, but far more powerful. Silence has begun to speak for you now. The words that once echoed in your mind are losing their shape, dissolving into something smaller than they ever seemed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the phase where truth doesn't announce itself loudly. It reveals itself through calm certainty. You are no longer reacting to what was said. You are standing above it. And from here, everything looks different. What once felt personal now feels distant, almost irrelevant, because clarity has replaced doubt. What you may not realize yet is that the energy has shifted completely. The one who spoke about you is now the one feeling watched, not by people, but by their own conscience. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When a story is built on half-truths, it eventually collapses under its own weight. Small moments are already exposing the cracks: hesitation, regret, sudden curiosity about you. They are replaying conversations in their mind, wondering if they said too much or not enough. Meanwhile, you are becoming quieter, steadier, stronger, and that contrast is impossible to ignore. Now understand this clearly, because this is the hidden gift. You were never meant to confront, explain, or demand clarity. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were meant to outgrow the narrative entirely. When someone reduces you to just anything, and you rise anyway, the truth reveals itself without words. This is where the story turns in your favor, not through revenge, not through validation, but through elevation. The unfinished sentence no longer needs an ending, because you have already written one with your growth. And once that realization settles in, nothing from the past will ever sound the same again. My beloved child, this is where the story reaches a deeper layer, one that most people never see. What once felt like a wound is now becoming wisdom. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The words that tried to define you are no longer sharp. They are dull, powerless, fading. You are beginning to understand that being misunderstood was never your punishment. It was your protection. If they had spoken the truth clearly, you might have stayed smaller, waiting for approval. Instead, the unfinished sentence pushed you forward, quietly shaping your strength. What unfolds next will not come from them. It will come from life itself. Opportunities begin to open. Confidence settles in naturally. Your presence changes without effort. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the moment when people start sensing your shift before they can explain it. You won't announce growth. It will be felt. And the ones who once tried to reduce you will feel the distance widen, not because you left them behind intentionally, but because you outgrew the place where their words once had meaning. Now hold this truth firmly. You were never just anything. You were becoming. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The sentence they couldn't finish was never meant to be completed by them. It was meant to be completed by time, by clarity, by your evolution. And as this chapter closes, you step into a version of yourself that no rumor, no whisper, no half-spoken label can ever reach again. This is not the end of the story. It is the rise that makes the past finally fall silent. My beloved child, you are now standing at the edge of a realization that changes how you see everything that came before. What once felt like confusion now feels intentional, almost guided. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The reason this message keeps pulling you forward is because you are ready to understand it differently. The silence, the half-truths, the unfinished sentence, they were never meant to stop you. They were meant to prepare you. You had to walk through misunderstanding to discover how strong you could become without validation. Now watch carefully what happens next. As this inner clarity deepens, the relationship you have with your past experiences also begins to change. What once felt unfinished or emotionally charged starts to settle into something more neutral, as if time itself is softening the edges of those memories. You no longer feel the same pull to revisit every detail or reinterpret every word that was once said, because the need for resolution is gradually being replaced by a quiet acceptance of what has already happened. This doesn't mean forgetting. It means no longer being bound by the emotional intensity that once accompanied those moments. With that shift, there is a noticeable lightness in how you move through your thoughts and decisions. You begin to recognize that not every story requires closure in the way you once believed. Sometimes understanding arrives simply through distance and growth rather than explanation. As a result, your attention naturally turns forward, toward what is still unfolding rather than what has already settled. There is a growing sense that your direction is becoming more self-defined, less influenced by external commentary or past interpretations. Even the idea of being seen or understood takes on a different meaning, because you are no longer seeking confirmation of your identity through others' perspectives. Instead, there is a quiet confidence forming in how you carry yourself, one that doesn't need to be announced or defended. It shows up in your calm, in your restraint, and in your ability to remain steady even when old narratives try to resurface. Over time, this creates a natural boundary between who you were and who you are becoming, allowing you to move forward without the emotional weight of needing everything to be explained or resolved. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What once felt like a question hanging in the air now feels answered without words. You are no longer searching for meaning in what was said about you. Meaning has found you instead. And when that happens, the past loses its grip. You are standing in a space where nothing needs to be defended, corrected, or revisited. Here is what is quietly unfolding now. The energy that once pulled toward them is returning to you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You may notice a shift in your focus, less curiosity about them, more alignment with yourself. This is not indifference. This is completion. When a lesson finishes teaching you, it releases you. The words that once carried weight are now just sounds from another time. And in their place, something steadier has arrived. Self-trust. You are beginning to move differently, choose differently, pause differently. That difference is not accidental. It is earned. Now take this truth with you, because it will anchor everything ahead. You were never meant to hear the end of that sentence from anyone else. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were meant to become the ending yourself, and you have. The moment you stopped asking, why, and started recognizing who, the story changed direction. From here on, what follows you will not be rumors or unfinished thoughts. It will be results, clarity, and a quiet confidence that speaks without saying a word. This is the stage where you stop being talked about and start being undeniable. My beloved child, this is the phase where truth settles into your bones and becomes unmovable. What once felt like a fragile realization is now solid ground beneath your feet. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are no longer wondering how others see you, because you finally see yourself clearly. The noise that surrounded your name has faded into the background, replaced by a steady inner voice that knows its worth. This is not pride. This is alignment. And alignment changes everything without announcing itself. What you may start noticing now is unexpected recognition. Not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. People respond to you differently. Conversations shift when you enter. Opportunities lean toward you naturally. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is what happens when a story about you expires and a presence takes its place. The past version of you no longer fits the narrative others once accepted, and instead of correcting them, you simply exist. Existence, when rooted in truth, becomes the strongest response. Now let this land deeply. The words, "you are just," have lost all meaning because you are no longer standing where they were spoken. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You have crossed into a space where labels cannot reach and opinions cannot follow. This is not escape, it is evolution. And as you continue forward, the final realization becomes clear. Nothing that tried to limit you ever had the authority to do so. You outgrew the sentence, the speaker, and the moment itself. From here, you don't look back for validation. You move ahead with certainty, carrying a quiet power that no unfinished sentence can ever reduce again. My beloved child, This is the stage where momentum replaces memory. What once tried to hold you in place can no longer reach you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are moving now, not hurried, not forced, but inevitable. The past has lost its gravity. The sentence that once hovered behind you has finally fallen silent, not because it was answered, but because it no longer matters. You are standing in forward motion, and forward motion makes old words irrelevant. This is what growth looks like when it becomes permanent. Here is what changes next, and it may surprise you. You stop attracting explanations and start attracting alignment. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The right conversations find you. The right timing meets you halfway. The right people recognize you without needing context or history. You no longer feel the urge to prove who you are, because proof has been replaced by presence, and presence reshapes rooms quietly. This is where life begins responding to you differently, not as someone defined by what was said, but as someone defined by what is happening now. Let this final truth of this part settle in you. You were never meant to correct the story told about you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were meant to live so clearly that the story dissolved on its own, and it has. From here, your path is no longer influenced by unfinished sentences or borrowed opinions. It is guided by clarity, direction, and inner certainty. There comes a point in life when the past stops feeling like something you are still inside of and begins to feel like something you have already moved through, not because everything was neatly resolved, but because your understanding has quietly shifted. What once felt heavy or defining gradually loses its authority over how you see yourself. You start noticing that the emotional charge around old memories isn't as sharp as it used to be. The questions that once felt urgent begin to soften, and in their place is a steadier awareness, one that doesn't need constant explanation to feel secure. This kind of change doesn't usually arrive with dramatic clarity. It builds slowly, through reflection, experience, and the natural process of growing out of interpretations that no longer fit who you are becoming. You may still remember what was said or what happened, but it no longer has the same power to shape your present direction. That shift is often subtle enough that you only recognize it when you realize you haven't revisited certain thoughts in a long time. Emotional closure, in many cases, is not about receiving final answers from other people, but about reaching a point where those answers are no longer required for your own peace. As this happens, urgency tends to fade. The need to reanalyze, revisit, or seek validation from the past begins to dissolve, replaced by a more grounded sense of self-awareness. What remains is clarity, not because everything was resolved externally, but because internally you have stopped giving unresolved narratives authority over your present. In that space, growth becomes easier to recognize, and forward movement feels less like effort and more like natural direction. And right now, mastery is settling into you naturally, without effort or force. Here is what few people notice at this stage. The world begins responding to you with less resistance. Doors don't feel heavy anymore. Timing feels less random. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is not luck. It is alignment catching up with you. When inner clarity stabilizes, outer circumstances adjust. You may feel moments of reflection, not regret, but recognition. Recognition that you outgrew something that once felt overwhelming. Recognition that you no longer need to revisit what hurt you to confirm your strength. You already know it. Now let this final truth of this part anchor you. The sentence that began with, "You are just," no longer belongs to your story. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. It belongs to a past version of someone else, someone who could not see beyond their own limits. You have moved beyond that frame entirely. From here, you are not reacting, proving, or correcting. You are simply continuing forward with quiet authority. And when that happens, life does not ask who you are anymore. It already knows. My beloved child, this part unfolds like a door opening without a sound. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are now beyond the stage of healing and into the stage of embodiment. What you learned has become who you are. The past no longer feels like something to process. It feels like something completed. You can sense it in the way your breath is calmer, your thoughts are slower, your choices are clearer. The unfinished sentence that once tried to shrink you cannot reach this version of you. It was spoken to someone you no longer are. And that realization is power, quiet, stable, unshakable. Here is the shift most people miss. When you stop carrying the need to be understood, understanding begins to find you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You may notice people responding with more respect, even without knowing why. You may notice situations resolving themselves without your effort. This is not coincidence. This is coherence. Your inner clarity has synchronized with your outer path. The narrative that once followed you has dissolved, because narratives cannot survive where truth is lived consistently. You are no longer a topic of speculation. You are a presence. And presence does not need permission to be acknowledged. Now let this settle as the truth that carries you forward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. In this state, trust becomes less about reassurance and more about alignment. It's not the kind of trust that depends on everything being explained in advance, but the kind that develops through lived experience, through noticing that you've handled more than you once believed you could, and that clarity often arrives after movement, not before it. You begin to rely less on constant validation and more on your own ability to adapt, reflect, and adjust as life unfolds. In doing so, life itself starts to feel less resistant. Situations that once felt confusing begin to settle more naturally into place, not because they are simpler, but because your way of engaging with them has changed. You're no longer trying to force outcomes into certainty. Instead, you're learning to recognize patterns as they appear and respond with a steadier sense of awareness. This creates a feeling of forward motion that doesn't require constant struggle. It becomes less about proving progress and more about recognizing it in real time. Even silence starts to feel different, not empty, but full of understanding that doesn't need to be spoken. In that space, the idea of being defined by old narratives loses its hold, and what emerges instead is a more grounded sense of identity shaped by experience rather than interpretation. From here, life feels less like something you are trying to catch up with, and more like something you are actively participating in, step by step, with a clearer sense of presence and direction. You no longer carry the urge to look back and check if anyone understands. Understanding has become internal, steady, and self-renewing. What once tried to label you cannot keep up with the pace of who you are now. You have moved from reaction to intention, from defense to direction, and that shift changes how everything meets you. Now notice the rhythm of your days. There is less resistance, more flow. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Decisions feel simpler because they are aligned. Boundaries hold without effort. The noise that once crowded your thoughts has thinned, leaving space for focus and clarity. This is the stage where you stop explaining your choices and start honoring them. People sense it. Situations adjust to it. When you move with purpose, life responds with precision. The past cannot interrupt momentum built on truth. Let this truth carry you forward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were never meant to finish someone else's sentence about you. You were meant to live a story so complete that unfinished words lose all relevance. From here, your steps are lighter because you are not carrying definitions that don't belong to you. You are guided by inner alignment, protected by clarity, and supported by growth that no rumor can undo. This is the continuation that happens when confidence becomes quiet, direction becomes natural, and the future begins meeting you halfway. My beloved child, this is the phase where your presence speaks before you ever do. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You have reached a level of clarity where you no longer need to announce who you are or where you're going. The energy around you has changed. Calmer, firmer, undeniable. What once felt like an uphill journey now feels like steady ground. You are no longer responding to the past. You are leading your present. And leadership begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be yourself. Here is what becomes visible now. People sense your shift, even if they can't explain it. Conversations soften. Respect shows up quietly. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is not admiration. It is recognition. Recognition that you are no longer available for misinterpretation. The words once spoken about you cannot find a place to land anymore. They fall short because you have moved beyond the version of yourself they tried to define. Growth has given you a new frequency, and only what aligns with it can stay. Let this truth anchor you as you move forward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were never meant to chase clarity or approval. You were meant to become so aligned that both arrived naturally or became unnecessary. That is where you stand now. From here, your path opens with less resistance and more purpose. The past has released you completely, and the future recognizes you without explanation. This is not a peak, it is a foundation. And everything built on it will be stronger, quieter, and unmistakably yours. My beloved child, this is the moment where stillness turns into strength. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are no longer chasing clarity, because clarity has settled into you like a second heartbeat. The noise that once demanded your attention has lost its urgency. What tried to define you can no longer reach you, not because you blocked it out, but because you rose above it. This is the quiet confidence that comes only after you stop negotiating with the past. You are grounded now, rooted in who you are, not who anyone tried to describe. What unfolds next happens without effort. Your choices feel cleaner. As this sense of inner clarity strengthens, your relationship with the past begins to shift as well. What once felt emotionally heavy or unresolved starts to take up less space in your daily thinking. Not because it disappears overnight, but because it slowly stops defining who you are becoming. You begin to notice that your present choices matter more than old narratives or lingering interpretations of what things were supposed to mean. There is a quiet strength in realizing that your direction is no longer dependent on external validation or old versions of yourself being understood or remembered in a certain way. Instead, your life starts responding more directly to how you show up now, how you think, how you act, and how you choose to move forward. This is where intention becomes important, not in a dramatic sense, but in a steady, grounded one. When intention leads, you stop reopening doors that no longer align with your growth. You also stop giving unnecessary weight to uncertainties that once shaped your emotions. It becomes easier to recognize what deserves your attention and what doesn't need to be carried forward anymore. Certainty, in this sense, isn't about knowing everything ahead of time. It's about trusting your ability to choose in the present moment, without constantly looking backward for permission. And as that trust builds, something subtle but meaningful happens. The past loses its authority over your direction. It may still exist as memory, but it no longer directs your steps. What remains is a quieter, more stable sense of self, one that isn't easily pulled off course by doubt or interpretation. Instead, you move with a growing awareness that your life is shaped less by what once happened and more by what you decide to build from here. Something huge is waiting for you. You are no longer measuring your steps or second-guessing your pace. The ground beneath you feels firm because it is built on truth, not reaction. What once tried to define you now feels distant, like a story you heard long ago about someone else. You are present, focused, and awake to your own direction. And when presence deepens like this, nothing from the past can interrupt your stride. What is happening now is subtle but powerful. Your energy has become consistent. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Consistency creates trust, within yourself first, and then in the world around you. People respond to you without needing explanations. Situations resolve faster. Delays feel purposeful instead of frustrating. This is the moment where life stops testing the lesson because you have already learned it. The unfinished sentence that once echoed has no audience here. It cannot survive where self-respect has taken root. Hold this truth as you continue forward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were never meant to be remembered for what was said about you, but for how you moved beyond it. And now, movement is natural. You are no longer proving anything. You are simply living in alignment, letting results speak where words once tried to. This is the phase where your story is no longer explained. It is demonstrated, and demonstration carries a weight that no rumor, no whisper, no half-spoken sentence can ever challenge again. My beloved child, this is where your journey feels complete without feeling finished. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are no longer defined by milestones or moments of validation. The strength you carry now is quiet, internal, and constant. What once demanded your attention has faded into irrelevance, not because it disappeared, but because you outgrew the need to respond to it. The past cannot pull you back when your roots are this deep. You are standing in a space where self-respect feels natural, not earned, and that changes how every step forward feels. What unfolds now is a kind of freedom that doesn't need celebration to be real. Don't skip. Conversations that once felt tense begin to feel more manageable. Decisions that used to carry pressure start to feel simpler, and you notice a growing sense of steadiness in how you move through your days. It isn't about reaching a dramatic endpoint or becoming a completely different person overnight, but rather about subtle internal shifts that accumulate over time. You begin to act less from fear of judgment or old expectations, and more from a clearer understanding of where you are right now. That shift can feel almost effortless, as if you're no longer forcing yourself into roles that don't fit anymore. Instead, there's a quiet alignment between what you think, what you feel, and what you choose to do. In that space, you may notice that you don't rely as much on external validation or constant reassurance, because your sense of direction starts to come from within rather than from constant comparison or noise around you. Things that once felt uncertain begin to settle into perspective, not because every answer has appeared, but because your relationship with uncertainty has changed. You're less pulled into proving yourself and more focused on living in a way that feels consistent and honest. Over time, this creates a kind of inner clarity that doesn't need to be announced or defended. It simply shows itself in how you carry yourself and how you respond to life as it unfolds. What once felt like fragmented experiences starts to form a more continuous sense of self, where your choices feel less like reactions and more like expressions of who you are becoming.